When I mention Azure Storage, I am specifically referring to an Azure Storage account. Sometimes in discussions, Azure Storage may also include other data store solutions like Azure SQL Database or any other service that stores data. However, to keep things clear here, Azure Storage means the security considerations for storage account only. Additionally, Azure Data Lake is now integrated within the Azure Storage account service. It's essentially an extended feature that you as the customer can choose to enable. In this video, we'll focus only on the security related aspects of the Azure Storage service. Let's dive into some of the key data protection scenarios available with Azure Storage. First, data protection scenario for Azure Storage is prevent a storage account from being deleted or modified. Imagine you have a storage account full of valuable items. You don't want anyone to accidentally or intentionally tamper with it. Azure offers something like a lock for the storage account called a Azure Resource Manager lock. This lock prevents your storage account from being deleted or modified by mistake. However, it's important to note that this lock does not stop someone from altering or deleting specific items inside the storage account, like individual files or folders. It's a safeguard for the entire storage account, not for the contents inside. Second data protection scenario for Azure Storage is prevent a blob version from being deleted for an interval that you control. Let's say you have a crucial document which is sitting in a blob that you don't want to lose or change for a certain period, maybe for legal reasons. Azure allows you to set an immutability policy on that specific version of the file. This policy acts like a protective seal, which ensures that particular version stays exactly as it is. No one can delete or modify it until you decide it's okay. This is especially useful for keeping important records safe and unaltered. Another data protection scenario for Azure Storage is prevent a container from its blob from being deleted or modified for an interval you control. Imagine you have a folder or a container full of important documents and you want to make sure nothing inside gets deleted or changed for a while. With an immutability policy on the container, you can lock down the entire folder, protecting all the file inside it from being tampered with. This kind of policy is often used to meet legal or regulatory requirements where you need to ensure the integrity of critical documents for a set period. Next, data protection scenarios for Azure Storage is restore a deleted container within a specified interval. Did you ever accidentally delete an entire folder and wish to get it back? Azure provides a safety net with something called container soft delete. If you enable this feature, you have a grace period, say 7 days, to restore the deleted folder and its contents. It's like having an undo button for those oops moments. However, this feature works only at the folder level, so if you delete a single file within that folder, you won't be able to recover just that file, only the whole folder. Next, data protection scenarios for Azure Storage is automatically save the state of a blob in a previous version when it's overwritten. Imagine every time you saved over a document, a new version of it was automatically created and stored. That's what blob versioning does. This feature is great for when you need to protect your data from accidental overwrites. It keeps a history of all changes, so if something gets messed up, you can always go back to a previous version. This way, you don't lose any important data just because of a mistaken save. Next, data protection scenarios for Azure Storage is restore a deleted blob or blob version within a specified interval. We all delete things by mistake sometimes. Azure's blob soft delete feature is like having a recycle bin in the cloud. If you accidentally delete a file, you have some time, let's say 7 days, to restore it before it's gone forever. It's a simple way to prevent data loss from human error. Next, data protection scenarios for Azure Storage is restore a set of blocked blobs to a previous point in time. Did you ever wish to rewind a time to undo a mistake? With Azure's point in time restore, you can revert a set of files to how they were at a specific point in the past. This is particularly useful if something went wrong and you need to undo a bunch of changes at once. However, it only works for certain types of files, such as blocked blobs, so it's not a universal rewind button. Next, data protection scenarios for Azure storage is manually save the state of a blob at a given point in time. Imagine you take a snapshot of your document at a specific moment. If you mess up the document later, you can restore it back to that snapshot. That's essentially what blob snapshot do. They are like creating a save point in a video game, which allow you to revert to that exact state if needed. It's a great alternative when versioning might be too costly or complex for your needs. Next data protection scenario for Azure storage is a blob can be deleted or overwritten, but the data is regularly copied to a second account. Sometimes you might want an extra layer of protection by copying your data to a completely different storage account. This is like having a backup drive in a separate place. So even if something goes wrong with the primary one, your data is still safe somewhere else. You can use tools like Azure Storage Object Replication or Easy Copy to regularly copy your files to a second storage account, which ensure that even the most unexpected events won't cause you to lose your data. Table on the screen shows comparison among Microsoft managed keys, customer managed keys, and customer provided keys. Azure storage encryption is enabled on all storage accounts and cannot be disabled. Data is encrypted by default across all storage services, tiers, and regions with no additional cost. When you store data in Azure, it's automatically encrypted to keep it safe. Think of it like having a security system that locks up your data without you needing to do anything extra. Whether you are using basic or premium storage, and no matter what kind of data you are storing, Azure makes sure it's encrypted. This includes all types of data and even backup copies in different locations. And the best part, you don't have to pay extra for this encryption. By default, Azure uses Microsoft keys to protect your data. If you prefer, you can use your own keys for added control. You can store this key in Azure Key Vault or a similar secure services. You also have the option to manage encryption at different levels, such as for specific containers or files, and can allow to set up secure zones within the same storage account. Hope you have good understanding now around data protection mechanism available with Azure storage account.